Hello, and thank you for joining me on another episode of the Tech Exec podcast, where we create a team worth leading. As always, I'm your host, Aviv Ben-Yosef, advisor and consultant tech execs worldwide, and our subject today is cleverness. Something that I keep seeing when I'm helping teams improve is that when we finally reach a point where a team realizes that their current technology is just not fitting their needs, and they finally take the time to reconsider what they need to be doing, which new technology to adopt, how to move things. And of course, we're always thinking about how to do this sensibly. It has to fit the business needs. We can't just stop production for months, etc. Let's just put that aside and assume we're doing whatever transition we're doing fine. And now let's focus about sometimes people have been waiting for so long to do this that they feel like this is their chance, the only one. They have to cram every single thing they can think of into this, because if they don't, they're not going to get another chance for years. And this is the wrong sort of thinking, because when you do that, you end up making things that are way more complex than they ought to, because you're trying to optimize for a future you don't even know what it's going to look like. And therefore, you're jamming everything into it. Everything but the kitchen sink ends up being part of your architecture. And I'm just now helping a company, and I'm seeing the new technologies they want to bring in. And of course, 80% of what they want to use is completely sensible, makes perfect sense. But then there are those 20% that at face value, you look at it and you're like, okay, yeah, makes sense. I don't know. Solid technology has been in the market for a while. However, when you look at this and you try to understand why are we incorporating this? What sort of business need are we seeing? What is going to be the added cost of maintaining this extra bit of technology? We realize that this is just added cleverness that doesn't have the right ROI. And this is something that we don't think about enough. There are very obvious things I can point out, like maybe you're going into microservices before you ought to, or maybe you're breaking into way too many microservices without any real need. Maybe it's introducing things such as Kubernetes when you don't have the DevOps capacity to maintain it, and therefore maybe you need to be considering a different topology, using something that's managed and easier, a platform as a service, whatever. And this is about understanding that, with amazing technology that's more clever, you get more customization. You can make sure that whatever need you have in the future, you'll be able to somehow find the right solution for it. However, that cleverness comes at the cost right now that everything is going to have to be more complex and more error-prone right now till you end up getting to that future point when it actually pays off and you don't even know if you're going to get there. And therefore, my takeaway for you today is I want you to consider the fact that cleverness is not something we value. It might look cool, and when you talk about it, you might get excited a bit, especially if you're a little bit of a geek like I am. However, when we decide on the tools for the company, the things we're going to be using for a while, we have to keep in mind not just how cool this is, but all the different things that are at play here. For example, how likely is this to remain a viable technology in the next 3 to 4 years? How easy would it be to find people who have experience in this? Because if it's too clever, you just might not find any experts ever. Or it's just so much of a niche, you're not going to find anyone who wants to specialize in it because they feel like it's not worth the effort. Another thing, how about the type of intercommunication you're going to have within your company? For example, if you have a lot of juniors, is this going to naturally be a layer that's only touched by your seniors because it's that complex? I never think that's a good idea, and especially so if right from the get-go, that's the vibe it's putting up. All of these are different aspects that you have to consider. They're not purely technical, right? The technical solution might be amazing if done in a vacuum, if you don't have to consider anything else around its pure technical merit. But that's not the universe we're in. This is not code you're doing just for fun, for leisure. This has a business intent, and therefore it always has to match what the business needs and what is likely to happen. This risk management is something that so many people with a title of chief architect don't keep in mind, and it's on you as a tech executive to make this connection between the technology and the business needs to ensure that whatever we choose makes sense and we're not going to regret it in 6 months. That's it for this week. Thank you for joining me. As always, do check out the show notes to subscribe to my newsletter, the best newsletter online for tech executives, where I share 3 exclusive insights and an article every week. Thank you. Talk to you soon.